and we will start diving into letter template. So when sign on to profile, this is what you get. To get into letter template, very similar. Go to maintain, go to templates, and you notice there's no letter. It's actually called documents. So just be careful of the wording. But here's are all the letter templates. But the, within profile, they label it as documents. Now, I want to also show everyone something that I use quite a bit, and that's if you go to help and you go to F1, and if you type letter, these are all the topics related to letters. So here, if you click on letter, sorry, double click, it tells you what letter is, and it gives you more information and how to create it, preview it, and other things as well. So really good resource. You can get to here through help or by pressing F1. Okay. So I just want to quickly point that out and why I'm calling it letter template, because within the help file, it's actually called letter template, but within the menu, it's actually called document template. So just in case you hear those terms, don't get confused. Letter and documents are somewhat interchangeable terms within profile. Okay. So if we want to create a letter, we can just go in here, pick a folder. Okay. Depending on the type of letter that you want to create, you then can go create a new template right here. I don't recommend that. What I recommend you is probably pick something that's already close to it and use that. The other option is if you already typed previous letter that you are tired typing, go back and get those letters and just copy and paste them. And that will make creating your letter template a little bit faster. Okay. So for my little example, right? So I just pick a letter. Okay. This one I duplicated and added my initials in front, so I know it's a letter that I can play with and don't have to worry about deleting it after the fact. But this is a letter templates, and you can see that it looks very similar. The screen looks very similar to typing templates, right? So it has your font size, your font styles, your alignment tools, and so on. So very similar to what you see in a typing template. Okay. And you can also see you have the option to insert attachments and pictures as well. So basically what you see here is very similar to the interface for typing template. So since Ferdy covered that already, I am not going to go into further details with that. If you do want a little bit of refresher, again, the help file is a good little area to take a look. Okay. Next, I want to sort of cover is the print variable. And I know Ferdy already covered it, so I'm going to go over it faster this time. And you can see it's already here. You can see in my letter, there's already templates that are already being utilized already for these print variables. So again, if you push that little button, all your little green ones comes up. This is giving you the most commonly used ones. So they are usually grouped like this is under the doctor's folder. So these are related to the doctor's information. Contact, this is related to potentially an encounter, right? So, or actually there's the encounter here as well. So, um, letter, current date, times, patient info as well. So if you want the full list, you can just turn that off, and that will give you all the full list of all the variables. And it is quite a long list, as you can see from my scroll bar. Okay. So that is print variables. I will leave it at that since Ferdy already covered that. What I'm also going to cover is this part. So this part is recipient and information. So if you write a letter, I presume you're trying to potentially maybe a referral letter or something along that line. Maybe it's a letter to the patient. So here, being a letter, you can actually address it. So you can send it to a patient, and here you can search for a patient, and we can go and just go test search, and we can pick someone, and I'll pick on Allie. And there she is. And if her information within her her chart, then it will sort of print and add to her chart. You can also put in keywords associated with the letter. So let's just say if this is a medical legal report, right? You can put medical legal in there, right? And so if you use keyword searches for later to find letters, keyword is one option. Okay. And here you also have print actions. So you can actually do a print, which means just printing the letter, or you can fax. So fax means you need a fax printer set up. Okay, so there's a special type of printer that basically is a digital fax machine. And so you need to have that configured in order for this to work. Okay. The other one I want to sort of talk to is you can send letters to your colleagues if you want, but you can also send it to external providers as well. So let's just say you're making a referral, right? If you have your external provider list set up or loaded, right, here's all the external providers and only loaded the first 200. But you can actually select something like this, the Abbotsford Regional Hospital. And, if the information is configured in your system, it can actually get faxed to there. Okay. So that's a neat little function of a letter. Now that you've created a letter, how do I use it within the actual chart? So the best way to use letter is go into a chart and we can search. We'll pick on Alley. There's two ways you can use letters. The first way is you can go into new document, new encounter, and you got letter. What you see right now is your mostly used letter by usage. So the one you use the most is at the top. Okay, so if you want to use one of these, you can just double click on it and you're done. The other option is you can actually search for a letter. So let's just say I don't see the insurance letter. So let's search for the insurance letter. Insurance. Right. So I got two choices on my insurance letter. So you can pick one and you can select it. Right. And I'm not going to select that. And there's your letter that pops up, and there is the dates, your information, all the print variable disappear, and now you got the actual data. And so there is a nice starting point. You just added any extra information, modify any information, and you're ready to go. Okay. So that's one way to use letter. The second way to use letter is you can actually get out of this and go into documents. So within documents, you can go in here. You can go new letter and it'll bring you back to the template with all the letters. So you can select the templates. So where did I put that? I put it in here. Let's go with this one. And this is by coincidence. Bertie and I didn't plan it, but for example, AI scribe consent, right? So now here's a AI scribe consent letter. You can get the patient to sign it with your mouse and you can save it. So blah, blah, blah. So I got the letter, it's signed, right? It can be dated, and there's the patient name, there's the date. It's all good. We save it, close it, and now it's in the chart under documents. So those are some ways you can use letter. Now I want to sort of talk about the difference between typing template and letter. Typing templates usually are shorter body of text, and they're accessed fairly easily with the codes and the backslash. Whereas the letter tends to be more of a formal document. So that's the difference between them. But otherwise, utilization is slightly different. One is in documents. The other option is in new in encounters for both typing template and letters. Okay. So I cover letter fairly quickly. Any question at this point?
Nothing just yet in the Q&A box. Um, I'm wondering, you know, I think in the list of all of the print variables, it can be kind of somewhat daunting to know sometimes which one to pick. Would you say it's a good idea to like, as you're building your template, to kind of just grab a few of the variables that look to be close to what you're looking for and kind of test it out and see what kind of results come from it and see that way you can kind of narrow down to the right one?
Yeah, so one of my strategy with t print variables, it also depends on where it's pulling the data from. So even if you think the te print variable is the valid one, there might not be data. So one of my strategies sometimes is, let's just say I'm looking for the doctor. I might be tempted to look for all the names. So, okay, I'll add this one to it. So I might create a whole list of print variables. So let's just drag it over here and then, right. And then I keep looking for names and I just keep dragging them over. Prefer first name, anything with names. And I just drag it all over and I see what gets populated. So what I usually do is I actually put on a separate line each time. So I know, if it comes out blank, oh, there's a blank line. So that means that print variable didn't give me anything until I see in my list which one has it. And then I look back at my template, look back at the print variable. Aha, that is the print variable I need. I need the prefer name. I don't need this one. This is blank. That is not it. This is the one I want, right? So sometime by creating this whole list of print variable that you suspect might be the one, this is how one way you can find out which one is the print variable that you want. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Sorry, Henry. May I ask you, if you've got them in, how do you see what do they resolve to?
So you would need to apply the letter. So you would save this letter, save this template, sorry, save this template. So right now it's the insurance template. So I can go back in here and I can go documents and I can go to new template. And that is in clinical, and that was the insurance document, and click OK. And it wants, no. So if I scroll down to the bottom, oh my God, I didn't get anything. Oh no, I did. It's right here. So my first variable gave me the last name. My second one gave me the test provider, which is not what I want. The third one actually produced nothing. And the fourth one is the doctor's first name, Wayne. And that's the one I want, prefer. So again, you can do that, just creating the list there and see what generates. Then you can decide, which is the print variable that you're looking for.
Awesome. There is one question in the Q&A box.
Okay.
So the question is, why do some letter templates pull up an external Word document instead?
Ah, I was going to try to avoid this, but so if you go to organization and preference, this will come up and then go to general. And in here, you got letter. So if you're pulling out a different word editor, like the Word, instead of that in the built-in editor, then you might have this option because you're using Word. So that could be it. I know most Office don't have Word, but it's Word is starting to getting commoner in the clinics. MS Microsoft Office is, I'm seeing more of it in clinical office than before. So that's why I didn't mention this because so far, most of the Office I've interact most of the time don't have MS Office or Word. So, but since I'm here, I also want to point out this little section here. You can see that you can actually set up default template for different things. So, which is kind of nice. So if you do use it, you can come in here and set up some of the functionalities that might be useful for you. Okay. And I will leave it at that. Any other questions?
Nothing just yet. Can give it a
All
few
right.
moments.